Okay, so we look at Doom 21x9 and specifically my thoughts on the game. Now I have found that this is something I just cannot put down. ID Software battled through all the ridiculous hate for an unreleased game following the beta and have released an absolutely terrific game. A true throwback to both the original and just generally old school shooters. Gone as the regenerating health and nearly all other mechanics we are so ingrained to expect, and instead we have a piece of skillful art where your mastery of movement and each weapon leads to you being able to pull off brilliant moments. So rewind back to the beta not long ago. It shattered the hopes of many players, disappointing in its lack of a clear vision to its gameplay, questioning just where it sat in the space of abundant other shooters. Now, whilst I can't claim to not have worried about the end product, I did enjoy both the closed and open betas, but nothing prepared me for what we would finally be getting. So let's start with the campaign first, as it's ultimately the strongest part of the package for me. At no point are you held into a story element that you don't want to be a part of. Now, as someone who plays campaigns earnestly for the story element, it's not usually something that I'd be bothered either way with what they forced you into, as I'll hang around anyway to listen to whatever story you're being fed. However, I absolutely understand the double-edged knife of having a useless story but engaging gameplay, yet being forced into watching that story unfold and not allowed to ignore it and just focus on the gameplay. Doom avoids this completely. Not only is its story great fun, the perfect mix of ridiculous premise and humour make it a great play. However, with only the most fleeting of moments as exceptions, you can just run straight past any story element without batting an eye, and as I say, this works so well here because, oh my god, the gameplay. This is hands down the most refreshing first-person shooter in ages. It's so sharp, snappy, fast and accurate, and relies completely on your ability. At no point do you find yourself out of control of your fate. It's your fault when you die. You screwed up and you have to pay for it. And I love it. That's not to say I hate other first-person shooters at all, it's just that following them in this case would have ruined Doom. Now, built on this fast, and it is extremely fast movement, is a great set of weaponry and imaginative enemies to engage with in gore-filled, beautifully designed environments, both on Mars and in Hell. And on the topic of gore, Jesus, the gore mechanics in this are bloody brilliant. Bethesda has a good number of titles under its belt from its teams like ID Software and Machine Games, and itself, that all use solid gore mechanics to just create far more satisfying gameplay, and Doom just stepped it up a notch. Well, actually step is the wrong word here, more like a giant leap. Pairing this violence with each weapon's unique modes and glory kills really just creates unforgettable times. And I can hands down say that playing yourself outweighs watching significantly, so if you get a chance, definitely try it yourself, as just watching footage is just not the same thing. So the firearms at your disposal are each very clear in their use, and without doubt argue their existence with no worry about overlapping its counterparts. Now that would all be well and good with the base abilities, but when you start upgrading your weapons, like adding various mods, well, that's when the fun really starts. And suffice it to say that they did a brilliant job here. The only useless mod being the scope on the machine gun. Just, I seriously don't understand what they were thinking. Imaginative on every other weapon, but that they kept in. Anyway, the question is, seeing as the story was able to blow us away because we never really actually got to try it in the beta, and so it wasn't actually taking flack before, that was the multiplayer side. Can the multiplayer stand up where it previously was being hammered? And my answer is an unequivocal yes. So in my personal view, it's not as good as the campaign, and I'll come back to this in a bit, but as a competitive PvP mode, it excels in using those skills from the single player to pit players against one another, with engaging maps and modes. But for me, what pulls it down is the lack of depth to weapons and general development. Okay, so I like the idea of everyone being on a fair playing field at all times, but removing so many of the fun mods present in the single player kinda brought things down, as they were so much fun there. And I don't know, whilst it is really good fun, it's kinda just isn't as fantastic as the single player to me. And because the single player is there, I then question, well, why would I play the multiplayer if I have the single player? Well, obviously there are many reasons to play the multiplayer over a single player experience, but then you have Snap Map. Here, anyone can create infinite numbers of epic new experiences to play through, and people will have really got amazing creativity and imagination, and the Snap Map tool is so very robust and gives you such a huge amount of freedom to those willing to spend the time on it, and its cross-platform functionality really allows for a massive selection of stuff to choose from. Whilst the campaign itself, the built-in story, might get boring if you keep playing it, you now have an endless supply of campaign-like stuff to do. So I don't know, I'll probably find myself spending the most time on the single player area and jumping in and out of multiplayer whenever I feel like playing against other players. But that could just be me. It could be that multiplayer is the biggest part of this. We'll only see in time. But on that point, let me know what you think, which is your favourite. And I nearly forgot, Rune Trials and Collectibles, both features which can easily become gimmicky very quickly for any game. But here they pose proper challenges in exploration of a map, with a massive number of hidden secrets expertly layered into their environment for only the true explorers to discover all of them, making it truly rewarding to discover them, either through blind luck or actually proper searching. Now, on top of all of this is layered gorgeous graphics, and with 21:9 support being relatively good, though guns do get stretched, but this can easily be fixed with the flawless widescreen plugin. And on this point quickly, a massive apologies for not mentioning this in my previous Doom video. Absolutely dropped the ball there. Late night editing, probably not the best idea. But yeah, it's a beautiful package, and one that I would recommend to anyone with even a slight interest in first-person games picking up and trying. A side note here, I went for 2560 by 1080 instead of 3440 by 1440 for the video to show you the big difference in demand 3440 by 1440 has. I'm running on nightmare settings here, and I'm always above 60 FPS. But at 1440p, it requires me to drop down to medium settings, and even then I can only just about hold 60 on a GTX 980 Ti. So yeah, please roll on GTX 1080 Ti. God, I am excited for that. Anyway, I hope that gives you a better idea of what this game has to offer at 21:9. Give this video a like if you found it helpful, and subscribe for future info. For any other games at 21:9, head over to my channel. Hopefully I've covered it. If I haven't, then leave a comment down below and I'll try and cover it. And if you'd like to donate to the channel, the links to my Patreon page are in the description. See you later.